Hello everyone, it is the Comics Kid 2099 and I am filming this video on July 13th and I went to a couple of bookstores today, a comic book shop where my sister lives and also a used bookstore, I guess we'll call it. And I got some stuff and I'm going to talk to you about it real quick, and also by the time this video goes up on the 16th, I will have been to another bookstore. It's the same one in that chain in another city. I will have gone there on the 15th, and so this video will consist of the stuff I got on the 13th today and the stuff that I will get on the 15th, because I'm sure I'll get a few things. And if I don't, then I guess it'll just be this. So the first thing I got is a novel here. This is by Michael Moorcock. I still haven't read the Fire Clown book that I got that was written by Moorcock the last time I went out of town. It's, about that big. This is the Eternal Champion. It's a concept that kind of permeates all of Moorcock's fiction. And it's basically, if I had to give it the elevator pitch, it's like Quantum Leap in a fantasy setting, I guess you could say. And I'm looking forward to reading it, and it wasn't too expensive, so yay. And then I got this and a few of these other books at the comic book shop I went to. Robin Unmasked. I think as far as the Tim Drake chronology goes, I have the 3 trades that collect like his earliest appearances, or I guess 4 technically. And then if you're looking on Wikipedia, like there's a trade that collects the first 6 issues of his solo series, and then it jumps forward to like issue 125, and that's this trade right here. So it's really weird. I wish that more of that series had been put in trade, but oh well, can't do anything about it. So I bought this, and I already read it on the way home. In case you didn't see it, this is Robin Unmasked. Bill Willingham wrote Fables, so you've probably heard that name before. I enjoyed this book. I doubt I'm going to be doing a full-blown review of it. Sometimes I'll read a book, I enjoy it, and there's just not a lot I can say about it. So I probably won't be doing a full-on video, but I liked it. And after this video, I will be putting it on the shelf with the other books I've read. I got, I think, 2 Batgirl books here. Kicking Assassins, and this one is called Redemption. This one, I think, was just a 6-issue miniseries that was just titled Batgirl. I'm not going to open it up and check that, but I think that was that. And so, I now have all of the Batgirl books that are out with Cassie Kang, except for... Did I say Kang? I meant Kane. I think I have all of them except for the one titled Death Wish. So I don't know if I'm gonna... I think I have to have Death Wish before I go any further, so I may need to try and find that. I don't think it's in any of the bookstores that I've been to, so that might slow me down a little bit. But I read the first 2 Cassie Kang Batgirl books, and I really love them both. So I'm looking forward to reading more with her. This is another series, a lot like Robin, where it's like they collect the first 20 or so issues of her series, and then they jump forward like 40 issues and they're in the 60s or whatever. I really wish they could have just collected that whole series in order, but again, I don't think they're going to do that, so I have to buy what is available. So that's Batgirl Kicking Assassins and Redemption. I believe I only got the one Nightwing book, Love and Bullets. Now I have the first 3 Nightwing trades, and those are insanely hard to find. The last time I checked, those books are not especially cheap online, and it's not easy to find them in comic book shops. Most comic book shops I go to would not have those, and then this one I went to happened to have this one. And I had found the other 2, very luckily, in the used bookstore a long time ago. So I may go ahead and read those. And then there's, I think, one more from around this time period in Nightwing that I do not have. Not Rough Justice. I don't remember what it's called. Oh well, it's not important. I'm missing one Nightwing book. And then Annihilation, book 1. This is another thing. if you have been keeping up with my videos recently, you know that I did a review of War of Kings, and that made me interested in the Marvel cosmic stuff. Now, of course, a lot of these characters have been around since the 60s and 70s, but I was not especially interested in reading any of that stuff from before. The big resurgence of the Marvel cosmic stuff really started with this book. Annihilation was a 3-part story. This is part 1. There's 2 other books. From there, it kind of just exploded, and there's a whole bunch of other cosmic things out there. This, I looked it up online, and I was like, you know, War of Kings was really good. I'm going to look and see if there's some other stuff that I can read with these characters. And this was like $60 used. Really insane. No comic book, not even the greatest comic book in the world, is worth $60 for me. So that was not gonna happen. Found this for cover price, so it was $25. That's a little expensive for me. I will go ahead and say that. Usually I would not pay that much, but since I knew that I was not going to find it cheaper online, I went ahead and bought it. I know the other books are cheaper online, and I will go ahead and say right now, some of you who watch this, you are probably a little dismayed that I do online shopping on Amazon and eBay. I do. To me, you know, I'm all about supporting comic book shops when you can, but sometimes comic book shops won't have a book that you're looking for, so you have to scour the internet. And sometimes that can yield really great deals for you. Sometimes you might be better off buying it online. I know sometimes I'll have issues buying something online, and it'd just be easier buying it in a store. So this is book 1 of Annihilation. That's really all I have to say. Looking forward to reading that and moving forward with the Marvel cosmic stuff from the last 5-ish years. This is an indie book called Werewolves on the Moon versus Vampires. I left the price stickers on some of these. I think all of these are from that bookstore where I got the Michael Moorcock book. So you'll know how much money I spent. Yay, I didn't take these off yet. I will. These stickers are really easy to come off. Werewolves on the Moon, I know nothing about it. I don't even know who created this. It says Land. I don't think it's Greg Land. That's the only Land that I am familiar with in the comic book world. But concept, basically, I mean, it's werewolves on the moon. Science fiction mixed with the supernatural, I'm in. If it cost me $4, that's not even a bad deal. If this book ends up being terrible, it was $4. So I'm very much excited to read that. It looks really fun. And that's that. This is 4, the Marvel Knights Fantastic Four series from the, I want to say early 2000s, I think. I have the first 2 volumes. I have only read the first volume. Still haven't read the second volume, but this was $2.50, so I went ahead and bought it, and this is volume 3. I don't know how long this series went. For some reason, I thought it was only a relatively short series, but I'm guessing it went at least 4 volumes. I'm just assuming that this is not the final one. But I enjoyed the first volume. That actually looks like Greg Land's artwork, but I don't see him being credited here, but that's a Greg Land pose if I've ever seen one. So that's cheaper than some single issues. So even if you, and I did get this in a store, so kudos to me for saving money and supporting a store. Superman Tarzan, Sons of the Jungle. You know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. That was, I am so sorry you had to hear that. Chuck Dixon, a fantastic writer. He probably wrote that Nightwing book over here. Yep. Chuck Dixon strikes again. This was $4. It's not a very long book, but I will, it's Superman. I've been in a bit of a Superman mood lately. On the way up there, I wasn't driving, but we were going to visit my sister. I think I mentioned that. On the way up there, I was reading a Superman book from the 80s, and that put me in a bit of a Superman mood. And this is an Elseworlds, so it stands on its own, and it is a complete story. At first, I was afraid that this was one of those things where sometimes they will put out a graphic novel that's like a third of the complete story, and so it's like Superman Tarzan, and then the other half is called like Tarzan Superman or whatever. This is, as I went ahead and peeked at the back, this is the complete thing. So I'm looking forward to reading it. So yeah, I spoiled the ending for myself, but that's okay because I still don't know what happens in the rest of it. And the last thing I got is a book called Spin Angels. I don't know a whole lot about this book. I think it's basically a meta-humans in the real world kind of story, kind of a take on the X-Men idea. It's mature content. I think this is from a line of like Salil, that's what it's called. There was 3 or 4 Salil books there at this bookstore, and I didn't buy the others because some of them didn't really look that interesting to me. But I had heard of this before. I don't actually know who either of these creators are. I had heard of Salil before also. It's kind of like Marvel's own little indie house, but what's really sad about that is I don't think they lasted very long. I haven't heard of anything that came from Salil outside of this title. I hadn't heard of any of those titles that were there that I saw, and I don't think that any of those, I don't think that Salil is still putting out stuff, which is a shame because I think you have something that's a huge comic book company like Marvel. It's nice that they are putting out stuff that's more indie-ish, and I don't know what I even mean by that. If you know what I mean, then good for you. It looks almost very old school, the way it's kind of packaged there on the side. That reminds me of a collection of something you might see from the 1980s. And that's all I got today. But now, if all goes according to plan, this video is going to segue right into what I got on the 15th, starting now. And it's about 3 seconds later for you, and it is about 2 days later for me. Now, I just got back home from another spree, if you will, out of town, and I bought some more books, so this is the rest of the stuff I got. Superman, Till Death Do Us Part. This is from the era when Jeff Loeb was working on Superman, and I know there are some other people on this. Let's see, there's a whole bunch of them here. Jay Faerber, Stuart Immonen. You can look at some of this stuff. J.M. DeMatteis. Yeah, so this is from around that time, late 90s, early 2000s. I have one of these books. I think if you go and watch my collection video that's mostly Superman and Teen Titans stuff, you will see that I have one of those. I personally really enjoyed this era of Superman. There's Lois's legs. I really enjoyed this era. I kind of wish it could have lasted a little longer than it had. I don't have any of the others except for now this one and that other volume, Return to Krypton. But I do, if I will ever see any of these again, I will snatch them up because I really enjoyed what I read. So that is one of the Superman books that I will be reading shortly, soon. Batman Absolution, also by DeMatteis. This is, I don't know what it's about. I know a few years ago, the IGN, not IGN, maybe IGN, I don't know. My brain just gave up on me. Some website that is always incompatible with my computer had a top 25 Batman graphic novels list, and this was on that list. I have never seen this anywhere until I saw it today, and for some reason I thought it was like out of print, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just mistaken. I got it not too expensive, and it's not, very long, but it's there. So that'll be something I read. The art, the interior art, looks like the cover. It's very beautifully painted. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Kind of reminds me of Birth of the Demon, which incidentally was also on that top 10 list for Batman books. So we'll see how this is. I like Batman, so I'll read it. The Legion of Superheroes, the beginning of tomorrow. And this is from the early 90s, maybe mid-90s. This is around the time when there was 2 Legion of Superheroes books. There was a book featuring the adult Legion of Superheroes, and then there was a book called Legionnaires, which featured a batch of clones of that team, but the clones were teenagers. And this was DC Comics' way of saying, we can have our cake and eat it too. We'll have people who enjoy this adult team, and they've been following their adventures ever since the 60s, but you have people who want to go back to the heyday of the team when they were teenagers in the 60s, so let's create a new title with clones of those characters. I haven't read this. I haven't even read any comics from around this time from the Legion, but as you know, if you saw my video, why I can't get into the Legion, or why I don't like the Legion, something like that. I have always wanted to like the Legion, it's just DC Comics doesn't make it very easy for me to do so. But hopefully I will enjoy this. The art is a little cartoony for my taste. Just a little cartoony, but you know, nothing wrong with that. I just prefer it to be a little more on the not as cartoony side. But that's that. Exiles, Volume 9, Bump in the Night. I have had I have the first 8 volumes. I read those a long time ago, and I've had Volume 10 for a while, and every store I go to, I can never find Volume 9. Finally found it, and I bought it. So I can read this, and then read Volume 10, and then I can move forward. I know this first series had like 16 volumes. It lasted for a while, and then there was at least 2 reboots of the series. Not reboots, but the series was canceled, and then they restarted it with a new numbering, and then they did that again. I haven't read any of that stuff, but I'm looking forward to reading this. I don't know who the creator is on this. I guess we'll find out. It is Tony Bedard, who... there we go. Yeah, I guess you couldn't see that. Tony Bedard wrote some cosmic stuff for DC recently. Rebels, which I really enjoyed, and he wrote one of the Green Lantern books that launched the New 52. I don't remember which one he wrote, though, because I'm not a Green Lantern fan. But Exiles, I've always liked that series, and I hopefully will enjoy this volume. This is, if you are familiar with comic book history from the 90s, she could give Lois Lane a run for her money. I am despicable. The Amalgam universe was basically 1996, Marvel and DC together did 12 issues of a shared universe, I guess you could say. It was basically combinations of DC and Marvel characters. So this guy is Superboy and Spider-Man. This guy is Magneto and Dr. Magnus from DC Comics. This is Starfire from the Teen Titans and Shatterstar from X-Force. There's more Iron Lantern. That one's pretty obvious. The Fantastic Four merged with the Challengers of the Unknown. Thor and Orion from the New Gods, etc. DC put out 2 trade paperbacks collecting, well, and I should say they did this amalgam thing twice. They did it in 96. They did it in 1996 and 1997. So in total there were 24 issues. DC put out 2 trade paperbacks collecting half of the stuff from 96 and 97. Marvel put out the other 2 trades. However, if you go online and look for those trades, the ones by Marvel, they are insanely expensive, like in the $50, $60 range. Found this one for like $6.50. I was really happy, so I bought it. That means that roughly 1/4 of the Amalgam universe is now out of my grasp. It has eluded me, if you will. So I'm really happy to finally have this, and you know, a lot of people like to make fun of the Amalgam stuff. I enjoyed it. It wasn't trying to change hearts and minds or anything like that. It was just trying to be fun, and I applaud them for that. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And the last one here is a Robin Batgirl crossover. As you know, in my previous haul, I got quite a few Batgirl and Robin books, or not. If it wasn't in my haul that you're seeing in this video, it was in my previous haul. I got several Batgirl books, so this is going to be fit somewhere around in there. And I like the Bat family. I've said in previous videos, I am on a delusional quest to get all things Batman. I don't know how that's going to work out for me, but, we'll see. I'm mainly after trade paperbacks. I'm not, if there is a series of single issues that has not been collected, and DC has not collected everything that has Batman in it, I'm not going to go out and buy it just because they haven't collected it. I'm mainly after the graphic novels that they have collected. And that's all I got today. I didn't get anything else, didn't get any movies or novels or anything like that. And so that's about all I have. I hope you guys liked this video, and I hope you guys will come back tomorrow to see whatever else I will be doing in the form of a video. I'll catch you later.